everyone, and welcome back to part 4 of my F1 2016 career mode series. So here we are for the Russian Grand Prix. If you've missed any episodes so far, do find the playlist on my channel homepage and check them out. As you can see, our practice, we had absolutely terrible pace here. Qualifying pace, we failed. Tyre management, we failed. Track acclimatization, though, was perfect. And Russia being a really strong track for me on the last game, really wasn't feeling like a good track on this game. It feels so different compared to F1 2015, and I just couldn't not seem to find any pace around here. I don't know whether it was to do with the setup or what have you. Here are the resource points from practice, and we're about to find out who our new rival is, because we beat Daniel Ricciardo.
Guess who made the
remember?
gossip columns this morning? Everyone's talking about this new rival you have. Check his stats out.
So our new rival is a Mercedes driver. Yippee! We've got Nico Rosberg as our new rival, and let's hear our qualifying goals for today's qualifying session as well.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
So they're pretty much bog standard. Beat our rival, beat our teammate, finish 5th. So here we are for qualifying.
Welcome F1 fans, where qualifying will be starting in the next few minutes as the teams prepare to get out on track at the Sochi Autodrome here in Russia.
So here we are in Q2, we got through Q1 just about. I think we finished 14th, and here's our one and only run in Q2 on the option super soft tyres. Didn't decide to start on the softs, mainly because I want to skip out the mediums altogether, and the softs I didn't really think they were really quick enough around here. As you see us go wide into turn 2. Really struggled in turns 2 and 3, leaked a lot of time throughout the whole session, but here we are as we cross the line, and it puts us P8 in the session, and that's where we finished, P8, just about getting through. Bottas, interesting enough, tried to qualify on the softs and didn't actually make it, so everyone in the top 10 will start on the super soft tyres for the first time this season. So I thought that was interesting that no one went for it. The softs aren't really a good tyre to really start on, I don't think, around here. I think the tyre deg isn't supposedly that bad, so I think we can get away with starting on the super softs. Anyway, our first run in Q3 put us about 7th, I think it was, and here's our final run at the end of the session in Q3. Wasn't expecting much, mainly because we've had shoddy pace all weekend. Daniel Ricciardo, our teammate, is on provisional pole. He's been on fire this weekend as we lose a bit of time through turns 1 and 2. In fact, this is probably the best run I had through the first sector the whole weekend. I leaked so much time to the AI through 2, 3, and on the exit of turn 4, mainly because I got out onto the exit curb. And you'll find throughout this video I try and avoid that exit curb so much, but incredibly, we've actually gone purple in the first sector right at the end of the session. So out of nowhere, we seem to have found a bit of pace in the first part of the lap, which was good because that's where we were leaking the most time. We were half decent in the third sector, all right in the middle, and then absolutely terrible in the first sector because we just seem to leak so much time. As you can see, we're just coming into the back straight now. I went for a bit more of a low downforce setup, mainly because the Red Bull still isn't the best in a straight line, and we are saving up for an engine upgrade. So again, like China, a bit more lower downforce as we now go purple in the middle sector. Out of nowhere, we seem to have found so much lap time, especially compared to our previous best. And we're right at the end of the session. We were the last car to cross the line as well. So all of a sudden, we've put ourselves in contention for, dare I say, pole position. I don't think we'll take pole. I think a front row is probably the best we're going to take as we come now into the final 2 corners. The third sector, though, is our strongest sector of the lap. So we come through the final corner, we're like 2 seconds up on our delta. And where's that going to put us on the grid? It's pole! Out of nowhere, and I mean out of nowhere, we have taken pole position. It was such a surprise when I recorded this and took pole. I did not expect it. Honestly, practice, we had no pace. The car has felt horrible all weekend in terms of lack of grip. And then I know when we put it on pole, I genuinely can't explain it. And it's a Red Bull 1-2. It's a front row lockout for the Russian Grand Prix. Absolutely incredible stuff. Incredible scenes here at Sochi. It's now time to go and get our race goals, I think it is now, from our engineer, and see what resource points we've collected. Of course, failing 2 programs means that we've dropped quite a few points this weekend, so I don't think we're going to be able to afford any upgrades, as we've got 305 resource points now. The rivalry with Nico Rosberg taking pole is going to put us in very good stead, I must say, as he only beat us in fastest sector and then some that we both get points for. So very good start to our new rivalry with Nico Rosberg there in the Mercedes. And Mercedes, again, not having the best of qualifying sessions. Rosberg out qualifying Hamilton. And our driver position in the team is very much in the purple. Now let's hear what our race goals are.
Hello. I just wanted to pass on the team's expectations for this race. Good luck.
Right, so a little bit... Still not expecting us to hold position, it must be said, but beat Ricciardo, beat Rosberg, finished 6th in the drivers' standings. Given that we are leading the drivers' championship, that should be a formality. Let's go to the race.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport.
You've done well to put it on pole, but we've still got work to do. Trying to cover the inside line off the start.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. It's Red Bull in pole position then, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Rosberg, Raikkonen, Sebastian Vettel and Hamilton, Sainz, Massa, Grosjean and Nico Hülkenberg.
So here we are in terms of the strategy. It's looking like a one-stop starting on the super softs and then going to the softs. What you will notice is we decide for the first time this race to take some fuel out of the car. I took quite a bit of fuel out of the car actually, mainly because I don't usually run rich that much. So I think I took about a lap's worth of fuel out of the car, mainly because we usually end up with 2 laps spare of fuel anyway. So I was like, well, we might as well take that fuel out. We're not going to need it in this race. As you can see, it's quite overcast here in Sochi today, so I wonder if that'll have any effect on the behaviour of the tyres, given that the super softs work at their best in colder temperatures, whereas the softer mediums like the hotter temperatures. So we'll see how that pans out in the rest of the race, as we've now completed the formation lap, and we've now got 5 red lights now. Hold the clutch in, dump the clutch, and away we go. We've had a pretty good launch yet again this season. We've been lightning off the starts so far in this 2016 F1 season. As we hold the lead going through turn 1, there's yellow flags out as we're going to be under pressure going into turn 2. There's more yellow flags out behind us as we now go into turn 2. We've gone deep though into the corner, and we have a virtual safety car in this race. Last race we had a safety car, now we've got the virtual one. Let's see what's brought out the virtual safety car. Unlike last race, it has nothing to do with us. As you can see, we had a pretty good launch. Ricciardo holding off Rosberg. I'm trying to have a look at us as we go down to turn 1, and there's a massive accident at the back. That looks like a Manor and a Haas, and I think it involves Fernando Alonso in the McLaren Honda. Let's see what's happened as we go into turn 1. There's a Manor on the outside, and he's been tagged. Alonso's been tagged by the Manor. Let's find out which Manor it was, as we're on board with Rio Haryanto in the MRT. As we can see, Pascal Wehrlein on the right hand side. It's him who tags Alonso. Haryanto hits Alonso and then collects Esteban Gutierrez in the Haas. As we see, Gutierrez getting off to a fantastic start in his race, having qualified stone dead last. And somewhat would have thought it was a blessing as he avoids Alonso, but Haryanto comes across the track, collects Gutierrez, and he loses both both of his front wing end plates, as we can see from Wehrlein's point of view. Probably at fault, but he just kind of pinched Alonso. Anyway, this is the end of the virtual safety car, and just as it's about to go in, we go over our delta, and we have to slam on the brakes to go underneath the delta as the virtual safety car ends, and it's put Daniel Ricciardo right on the back of us now as we go down the back straight. We're still on the first lap, by the way, as we're now going into this tight difficult off-camber braking zone. We brake too late, just like at turn 1, and we have been punished this time as Daniel Ricciardo goes around our outside and takes the lead of the Russian Grand Prix. It's looking like the hat-trick of wins might just be out of the window at the moment unless we can get Ricciardo back. And we can't. We were a second a lap slower than him, and we cut all the way to lap 5, and we're under pressure now from Nico Rosberg. But you can see there's some yellow flags down at turn 3, I think it is. And let's see what's happened as we're still trying to defend from Rosberg. So here we go. It's Kimi Raikkonen who made the undercut. He's doing a 2-stop. He's gone back onto the super soft tyres. And as we go through turn 3, he's gaining on the Sauber of Nasr and gets tangled up and has hit the wall, and it's dropped him well down the field. As we now on lap 9 decide to come in for a pit stop. That contact with Raikkonen as we hit the wall there, but brake in time. That contact with Raikkonen is very similar to Alonso and Wehrlein. Probably Raikkonen at fault there, whereas I think Wehrlein was probably a bit more at fault for the first one. As we put on the soft compound tyres now on lap 10. We wanted to come in the lap before actually, but Ricciardo came in, and even though we probably could have double stacked, I didn't want to risk it. Double stacking on these F1 games is very risky, because you usually get, the second car usually gets a penalty, while the form of penalty is the cars. The mechanics don't really work on the car straight away. But we have been jumped by Sebastian Vettel, so at the moment we're in a net 3rd place, I think. As a few cars ahead haven't stopped. Hamilton is currently behind us as well. That's the proximity error just behind us. As we now go up the inside of Vettel into turn 4, he's been held up by Wehrlein and Nasr. 2 guys have been caught up in accidents this race. As we need to try and work our way past these 2, put cars between ourselves and Vettel, because at the end of the first stint we had no pace. We had about a 4-second gap to the cars behind after Ricciardo overtook us, and they just closed us in. I think it was more because they were battling. It just meant that they couldn't quite, they were too busy battling, they couldn't catch us, and it allowed us to get away a little bit. But now it's becoming pretty evident that we are struggling for pace in this race. Literally the only time we've been quick in this race is in that final lap in Q3. The rest of the time we've just struggled for grip, struggled for pace in this Russian Grand Prix. I don't know whether we've been graining the tyres up in these cold conditions, I'm not too sure. But now starting to catch Jenson Button. He's one of the only guys who started on the soft compound tyres, and he's going quite long into this race. But we've got Sebastian Vettel, the 4-time world champion, right behind us. And we've had a few run-ins with Sebastian Vettel this season, Bahrain being a very notable one, as well as we battered him quite hard in Australia as well. And we even made a bit of contact with him at the start in China. So he's going to be very fired up to get past us now on lap 12. As we go defensive down the back straight, we decide to take the inside line. There's contact between Vettel and I think we might have clipped the wall. We've missed our braking point and we've lost 2 positions. We've lost out to Hamilton in all of this. And yet again, we've just missed our braking point, and it's just so frustrating that just to get a tag in the braking zone, the car just unbalances and you can't slow the car down. We lost 2 positions and track position on those guys, and they've just pulled away. As now Rosberg's trying to get back past us, trying to just get past us, in fact, on the next lap, as we're desperate to try and catch back up to Button, just to put a car between us and maybe get back in contact with Vettel and Hamilton. As we now got to fend off Nico Rosberg in the Mercedes. It's going to be a tough task as we're now coming into the penultimate corner. And where the hell has Rosberg come from? What on earth has just happened there? Rosberg has just dive bombed us into the penultimate corner, and it genuinely stunned me in the race. I couldn't believe it. Rosberg out of nowhere just goes for an the door wasn't even open. And as you can see me going through the replay cameras, and this is where I get a bit narked. For me, has Rosberg overtaken me by cutting the corner? I think if it was real life F1, he'd have to give the position back. But in the game, he was ahead, his nose was ahead going into the corner, so it hasn't given him an illegal overtake, as we then dive bomb him at the end into turn 2, more out of frustration that had happened, to be honest. Is now on lap 14, Rosberg is coming back at us again. There's just not a lot we can do. We just are struggling for pace, and with the DRS and the slipstream, these guys are just so much quicker than us. But We are trying to hold track position. We are in 5th place at the moment, but Jenson Button is yet to pit still. He's still out on his soft compound tyres at the moment as we're now under pressure going through turn 1 down towards turn 2. Rosberg on the outside. We ain't letting him pass round the outside, and we hold on to the position yet again with just 11 laps to go. As we now skip on to lap 18, we run wide and our engine's been cut slightly as we have a poor exit onto the straight. This time we defend going to the left-hand side. Rosberg's going to sweep around the outside. Don't pinch us into the wall, Nico, because we're going to brake later than him. Are we going to go around the outside? Yes, we are. Yes, we are into the 3rd sector. What a move around the outside of Nico Rosberg. As we now are up into 4th place. Massa has passed Nico Rosberg going down the start-finish straight. You wouldn't have seen that, but as anyway, Massa's now hit us as we're now trying to find out. I think we made a bit more contact and we've missed our braking point yet again. We've been tagged into that braking zone and it's put us off our braking point, and we've dropped another 2 positions as we now try and dive bomb Rosberg. It's not going to happen, and honestly, I was getting so frustrated in this race for so many reasons, through lack of pace and through just being bashed about by the AI as we now try an audacious move up the inside of Rosberg into turn 2, make contact with his left rear, half spin out, and we lose 2 more positions. A stupid manoeuvre, and it's cost us tyre wear, it's cost us time, it's cost us positions, and ultimately it's cost us points in the World Championship, as it's taken us till lap 22 now to catch back up to the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz Jr. Going into turn 2, we come from quite far back, but we were able to outbrake Sainz into turn 2 as we now skip onto lap 24. We've run wide, our engine's been cut, and now Sainz is going to soar past us with that Toro Rosso, which is really quick on this game, to be fair. The Toro Rosso is much quicker. We've now got Kvyat behind us as we now go back up the inside of Sainz. That seems to be our favourite overtaking manoeuvre and favourite spot to lose out. As now look at this, on lap 26, Ricciardo does a 1 minute 40. Mine's like a 41.2 or something. And at the moment we're driving around in the 43s. How has Ricciardo found that pace? He's like 3 seconds a lap quicker than us at the moment. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Anyway, at the end, here we are, lap 27, going around the last 2 corners. We're going to finish in P7 for this Russian Grand Prix. It's been a shocking race for us. I just have no words to describe this Grand Prix at all. We just haven't had the pace. Haven't had the pace. Christian Horner's going to be happy though, bearing in mind that Red Bull have now won the last 3 races in a row, and Daniel Ricciardo will be over the moon with that one to finally get one over on us, bearing in mind that we've won the last 2 races. So he'll be glad to have got a win in the Red Bull. I wonder if he's going to do a shoey on the podium, as Rio Haryanto finished 21st, bearing in mind he had that collision at the start of the race. But yeah, I don't know, I just have no words to describe that race. After qualifying, I thought we were going to have a bit of a better shot as Vettel and Hamilton make up the rest of the podium. So, you know, maybe if Vettel hadn't have hit us, we might have been able to have defended for a podium. But I just don't think we were quick enough. We just didn't have the pace this weekend. That's all I can say. We just did not have the pace. We had no pace in practice. We didn't really have any pace in qualifying until the final lap, and we just pulled a miracle lap out of nowhere. I don't know how we got pole, to be honest. It really surprises me to this day. And in the race, we just didn't have any pace either. I think if you look at our fastest lap there, we were probably quick enough for about 5th place, and I think that's roughly where we deserve to be. I think we were quicker than the Williams today. Just that Massa decided to get a bit argy-bargy in the braking zone. And then by then the tyres had just gone off the cliff, and just one of those races, really. It just really is one of those weekends. It's annoying because Russia was one of my good tracks, and I was hoping we could have a good result, but it's not going to be the case. I wonder where we're still stacking up in the Drivers' Championship, because remember we were leading that. I'm pretty sure our lead will have been cut down substantially. Given that we haven't scored that many points this weekend. But, yeah, it just hasn't been a good race for us, guys. I don't know what it was. Whether it was graining on the tyres. We just didn't have any grip. I just don't know. just a distinct lack of grip. I'm so relieved we never used the medium compound tyres in the race, because blimey, we'd have been one of the slowest cars out there. As I've just noticed, Kimi Raikkonen only recovered to the 11th. Jenson Button as well got driver of the day, I think, from Anthony Davidson for his drive to 10th. But yeah, our teammates won the race, and he's absolutely trounced us this weekend. We had the pace over him in the last two. He's had the pace over us this weekend, so I can see a nice rivalry is going to start developing with Daniel Ricciardo, I think. And it's one that I'm really looking forward to now. I'm really looking forward to seeing how me and Daniel might even be able to fight for a world championship. I don't know if we're going to fight for this. We're going to be in the fight for this one, but we are still leading just about from Nico Rosberg. Then Sebastian Vettel. Then it's our teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Then it's Hamilton, and then Raikkonen, who dropped quite a few points this weekend. I don't know if we're going to be able to hold on to this Drivers' Championship lead. We might be able. Hopefully, we can extend it in Spain. It will undoubtedly come down in Monaco, because Monaco is probably one of my worst tracks on the calendar. So we'll see about that. We're still leading the Constructors' Championship, though, because Ricciardo won the race. So we are leading the Constructors' World Championship still. So I think that's probably the biggest goal for this season, to see if we can win the Constructors' title. And if the Drivers' Championship if we put ourselves in the fight for a Drivers' Championship, then so be it. I'll be more than happy to fight for a World Championship, I can assure you of that. Here's all the resource points. Well, all the resource points, the few resource points we gained from that race. 71 of them. Bearing in mind we gained like loads in China for winning that race, so not very good. In the rivalry, Rosberg is probably going to pull a bit closer, if not take the lead, given that we didn't get many points. And thanks to our fastest middle sector by a couple of hundredths of a second, we still lead the rivalry going into the Spanish Grand Prix. So that's going to be an interesting rivalry to follow as well, between me and Nico Rosberg. He's definitely the driver that I think we're going to be battling in the championship this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. Anyway, and I think next is our standing in the team. That might drop a little bit now, mainly given that we failed our targets. We got beaten by our teammate, got beaten by Rosberg, but we did finish higher than 6th in the championship, given that we're still leading it. So that helps us out a little bit. It looks like our driver position's really hard at Red Bull. You've only got one purple score, so that's going to be interesting to see if we... Because getting the first driver is really good, because you get 25% extra resource points. So developing that to help develop our car, so that's going to be something we need to try and do. So we need some good weekends to make sure we get that driver position up. As you can see, Daniel Ricciardo there and Christian Horner in the hospitality area. So yeah, that's all for this race, guys. The next race will be the Spanish Grand Prix on Saturday. I hope you're looking forward to that one. The views on this series so far have been really good. I've been really happy with how the views have been going. So I will continue to upload this career mode series. So I hope you look forward to that. Let's see if we can bounce back from a poor result here. It's our worst result of the season. 7th place. Not bad for a rookie, I'd say. But yeah, that's all for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. I'll see you on Saturday. So until then, it's goodbye from me.